I sat at the table, watching the food grow cold. Just like my heart, today was my birthday, but it was also Horace's birthday, Christiana's close male friend. I opened Horace's WeChat moments, and sure enough, there was a new post. Grateful for having you by my side every year on my birthday. Let's promise to celebrate every birthday together from now on. The photo showed two hands making a heart shape in front of a cake. One of the hands was Christiana's. She was wearing the necklace I had given her. I gave the post a like, put down my phone, and dumped all the dishes Christiana liked into the trash. Then I went to a restaurant to order food I enjoyed. Celebrating my birthday alone. From now on, I'll make sure to enjoy every birthday for myself. Chapter 1. Halfway through my meal, Christiana called me. Her voice sounded a little anxious. Claude, you saw Horace's post, didn't you? I saw it. I'll come back after celebrating his birthday. Next year, I'll spend it with you. Be mature. Don't throw a tantrum. Okay, in the past, I might have gone into a hysterical rage and started a big fight. Not anymore, I replied calmly. All right. The next morning, a little after 7 a.m., my phone rang. But the call ended after 3 rings. I picked it up and saw it was Christiana. She used to be too lazy to open the door with her key, so she'd always call me. 3 rings, then hang up, no matter what I was doing. I'd always rush to open the door for her, but not today. I tossed the phone aside and pulled the covers over my head to go back to sleep. The spare key was under the shoe rack by the door. She knew that. After staying up until 3 a.m. packing last night, I was still groggy. The phone rang a few more times, but I couldn't even be bothered to look. I don't know how much time passed before I groggily heard the door open. The loud bang of the door hitting the wall startled me, followed by the sound of the bedroom door being slammed open. Christiana's angry voice filled the room. Claude, why didn't you open the door for me? I called you so many times. You know I hate using the key to open the door. I opened my eyes and looked at her with neither sadness nor joy. I was too tired to hear it. Christiana opened her mouth but finally just said, I'm hungry. Hurry up and make me some porridge. I didn't sleep all night, and I need to eat something before catching up on rest. If it were before, I would have jumped up eagerly to make her breakfast. But now, I simply replied, I'm tired too. Go buy yourself breakfast downstairs. Christiana was furious but held it in. Are you still upset about me not being there for your birthday yesterday? No, you're overthinking it. She didn't believe me and kept going. Horace is like a brother to me. His parents passed away early. If I don't celebrate his birthday with him, who will? Don't be so petty. If you keep acting like this, I'll really get mad. You're right. You should be there for him. I'm not upset. Unable to fall back asleep, I got up and went to the bathroom. Christiana grabbed my hand and reluctantly pulled a red string bracelet from her pocket. Here, stop being mad. This is your birthday gift. It's your zodiac year. So I remembered to get this for you. Looking at the cheap red string, with its dangling metal charm that seemed so perfunctory, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. I thought Christiana's frugal living these past months was to save up for a meaningful gift for me. It turns out I was just deluding myself. I shook my wrist, where I had just put on a watch my mom sent me a few days ago. Thanks, but I already have a watch. It's inconvenient to wear this. You keep it for yourself. Christiana snapped. You say you're not mad, but now you're rejecting my gift. You used to be so happy with whatever I gave you. Now you're being picky. Christiana didn't earn much, and her birthday gifts for me were always inexpensive, just a few bucks. Sometimes even nothing at all, but I never minded. Every year for her birthday, I went out of my way to prepare something special. Just a week ago, I gave her a gold necklace. I was tired, too tired to argue with her anymore. I took the red string and put it in my pocket. Thank you. I changed clothes and opened the door to leave. Christiana called after me urgently. Where are you going? To play basketball with friends. Ever since I got together with Christiana, all my free time outside of work belonged to her, shopping with her, entertaining her, taking care of her. I never had time for myself. Not anymore. From now on, I'll live for myself. Chapter 2. After an exhilarating basketball game with my friends, we sat on the benches, drinking water. One of them teased me, half joking. We thought you ditched us for good after getting a girlfriend. We were about to stop inviting you all together. I quickly apologized and promised. Sorry, guys, that won't happen again. Call me anytime there's something going on. Now that's more like it. Come on, let's hit the internet cafe for a few games. Ever since I started dating Christiana, I couldn't fit into her circle of friends and slowly drifted away from my own. All for her, I revolved around her completely, putting her first in everything. Looking back now, it feels incredibly foolish. By the time I got home, it was close to midnight. When I opened the bedroom door, I saw Christiana sitting on the bed, frowning. Claude, why are you so late? I had to order takeout for both lunch and dinner. It was awful. She complained. I opened the wardrobe to grab a change of clothes. I ate out at a restaurant today too. The food was pretty good. Just as good as home cooking. Christiana's eyes widened in shock. You used to say you'd cook for me every day so I wouldn't have to eat takeout because it wasn't clean. I was wrong. In this world, if you can't cook, you have to get used to takeout. Anger flashed across her eyes. You still say you're not mad. You didn't call or text me the whole day and didn't come home to cook for me. I replied flatly, I'm not mad. I was just out with friends. My phone died, so I didn't call. Seeing my indifference, Christiana threw off the blanket, stormed out of bed, and grabbed me as I was about to leave. Her voice turned sharp. Can't you just be more open-minded? I've already told you that Horace and I are just like siblings. What's your problem, Claude? My patience has its limits. I pulled my hand free. I'm really not upset. I'm just tired. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. With that, I took my clothes to the bathroom for a shower. Christiana shouted at me from the bedroom, but I ignored her. For the first time in a long while, I slept soundly that night. Christiana moves around a lot in her sleep, kicking the covers several times a night. When I used to sleep next to her, I'd wake up repeatedly to tuck her back in. The next morning, Christiana was sitting in the living room, arms crossed, her face stormy. I knew she was waiting for me to apologize and cheer her up. In the past, whenever she was upset, I'd grovel for forgiveness. Even when I didn't think I'd done anything wrong, she would then lay out a list of demands that I had to meet before she begrudgingly forgave me. This routine had gone on for years, and I was tired of it. I ignored her, got ready, and left the house. I had something important to do today. Chapter 3. I submitted my resignation at work. My manager was surprised and tried to convince me to stay, but I was firm in my decision to leave. I had originally taken this job to be with Christiana and look after her, but that was no longer necessary. Last night, I made a video call to my parents, telling them I planned to quit and move back home. I saw the tears of joy in my mother's eyes. My dad's health had been declining recently, and running a small grocery store on his own was becoming too much for him, although I called it back home. It wasn't exactly a remote place. It was a coastal city, a small but bustling third-tier city. Christiana was from the northern province and loved spicy food. She had always refused to visit my hometown, saying she couldn't get used to the cuisine. That was why I left my parents to come here and find a job near her. That evening, I invited my friends out for dinner and shared my plans with them. They agreed it was the right decision. My parents' health was more important. After a few rounds of drinks, someone asked, "What about Christiana? Is she willing to move back with you?" I fell silent for a moment before letting out a bitter laugh. "No, I think we'll break up. I used to think I could build a home here with Christiana and eventually bring my parents to live with us. But now, that home is gone. I'm returning to the one place I'll always be welcome, the home where my parents are." When I got back that night, I saw Christiana in a white dress, her hair flowing down her back, and her face perfectly made up. She was holding her phone, video chatting with Horace. From the phone, Horace's voice came through loud and clear. "Christiana, you're so gorgeous. Even in a simple white dress, you look like an angel." Christiana giggled, covering her face playfully. "Really, you're still as sweet as ever." I stood there silently. That simple white dress wasn't simple at all. It was the one I'd bought for her with a month's worth of salary. When Christiana turned around and saw me, her smile vanished. She turned back to Horace. "I'll talk to you later. I'm heading out now. Grab something to eat while you wait for me." Christiana could smile and joke with Horace, showing him endless care and warmth, but she wouldn't even spare me a single smile. She glanced at me with disdain before walking past me to put on her shoes and leave. I knew what was coming, her silent treatment. Throughout our years together, she often gave me the cold shoulder because of Horace. Every time, I'd panic and try every possible way to win her back. Not this time. I calmly carried the groceries I'd bought into the kitchen and made myself a late-night snack. I'd had too much to drink and barely eaten earlier, so I was a bit hungry. In the following days, I stayed busy with work handovers and packing. As the days passed, my belongings in the apartment gradually dwindled, but Christiana didn't seem to notice. Chapter 4. Today, Christiana went out to meet Horace again. I sat at the dining table, scrolling through my phone as I ate. Horace had just posted on his WeChat moments, "Whenever I feel lonely, you're always there for me." I'm so grateful. The photo showed Christiana and Horace leaning their heads together, flashing peace signs at the camera. Christiana's friends flooded the comments with likes and admiration, praising the bond between the two. For a long time, her friends had believed that Christiana and Horace were better suited for each other. They loved the childhood best friends trope and saw me as the intruder in their perfect story. Looking at the post, I suddenly felt that her friends weren't wrong. They did seem more like a couple than just friends. In the past, I would endure for as long as I could before gently reminding Christiana to keep some distance from Horace to avoid misunderstandings. Her friends would sneer, accusing me of being overly controlling and stifling her social life. Christiana never defended me. Instead, she joined in with their criticisms, telling me to stop restricting her and give her more freedom. On this post, Christiana commented, And you're always there for me too. I exited WeChat with a calm heart and got up to clean the table. Thunder rumbled outside. A storm was brewing. I stepped onto the balcony to bring in the clothes just as raindrops the size of beans started hitting the windows. In the past, rainy days would send me into a frenzy, calling Christiana to ask where she was so I could bring her an umbrella. I couldn't bear the thought of her getting even a little wet. But she and her friends mocked me for acting like a nagging mother, worrying too much and ruining their fun. This time, I took a shower early, lay down on my bed, and scrolled through short videos until I fell asleep without realizing it. The loud slam of my bedroom door being pushed open woke me up. Christiana stood there, furious. Claude, it's pouring rain outside, and your girlfriend hasn't come home yet. You're not worried at all. If it were my friends' boyfriends, they'd be blowing up their phones, asking where they were, or going out to pick them up with an umbrella. And you. Chapter 5. I was taken aback, not understanding why she was so angry. I remembered a similar rainy evening when she had been out with Horace. I had called her several times to ask where she was and when she'd be back so I could pick her up. She'd been furious, saying I was worrying for no reason and that Horace would bring her home. She accused me of being unable to tolerate her spending time with Horace, using excuses to make her come home earlier. She said my controlling behavior was suffocating her. Now that I was giving her the freedom she wanted, she was questioning why I wasn't picking her up. I truly couldn't understand what she wanted from me. I replied calmly, "You're with Horace. I have nothing to worry about. You two can stay out as late as you want. He'll bring you home safely." Christiana's eyes widened in disbelief. She must have been wondering how I could mention Horace so calmly and even encourage them to spend time together late into the night. A moment later, she seemed to think of something and explained, "Today is the anniversary of Horace's mother's death. He's feeling really down. And as a friend, I couldn't leave him alone. Don't overthink it." I nodded in understanding. I get it. On a day like this, he needs the company. My reasonableness left Christiana at a loss for words. She looked intently at my face, searching for any trace of anger, but found none. Softening her tone, she said, "Claude, I bought a new nightgown. It's black lace. Why don't you take a look and see if it suits me?" I glanced at her, surprised. This was as close to a truce as Christiana ever got. In the past, she always held her ground, waiting until I begged and pleaded for reconciliation before reluctantly forgiving me. I pretended not to catch the deeper meaning behind her words and replied, "There's no need. If you like it, that's all that matters. Go back to your room and get some sleep." Chapter 6. Christiana stared at me in disbelief, then stormed off in a fit of anger. Slamming the door behind her, I got out of bed, closed the door quietly, and returned to bed to continue sleeping. I had a restful night. The next morning, my friend Lucas called to invite me to dinner. He had just returned from a business trip, and having heard that I was going back to my hometown, he suggested we meet up one last time since such opportunities would be rare in the future. I felt a pang in my heart and agreed to meet him. Just before hanging up, he added, "By the way, bring Christiana along. I won't call her again." It made sense. Lucas wasn't just my friend. He was also Christiana's friend. It was through him that Christiana and I had met, but with him mentioning it like that, I realized my trip back home couldn't be kept secret anymore. My personal matters were still unfinished, and I didn't want to complicate things. After hanging up, I saw Christiana coming out of her room. I hesitated for a moment, then looked up at her. "Lucas wants us to join him for dinner tonight." She looked at me with some hesitation, about to say something when her phone rang. She spoke softly into the phone. "Horace, don't worry. You won't lose it. I'll come right over and help you look." After hanging up, she quickly headed toward the door, changing into her shoes as she spoke. "Claude, Horace needs my help with something urgent. You go ahead and have dinner with Lucas. I won't be joining you. Just let him know." That evening, at a bustling food stall, Lucas and I had just clinked our glasses when Christiana walked in, with Horace following closely behind. For a moment, we locked eyes. Christiana looked surprised and a bit awkward. Horace, on the other hand, shot me a challenging grin. Chapter 7. Christiana walked up to us, a little uncomfortable, and said, "What a coincidence. You're here too." Horace pretended to apologize. Christiana saw I was hungry and suggested bringing me here. "I hope we didn't interrupt you guys." Lucas seemed to have forgotten about Christiana's refusal to join us for dinner and eagerly invited them to sit with us. Calling over the waiter to add a few more dishes, Christiana seemed about to sit next to me, but I got up and moved to sit beside Lucas, leaving the seat across from me for her and Horace. Christiana's friends had been right. She and Horace really did seem more suited to each other. I decided not to get in the way of their chemistry. Christiana's face showed a bit of nervousness. A few times she opened her mouth to explain, but was interrupted each time. I continued chatting with Lucas, the constant pinging of WeChat notifications on my phone going unnoticed. During a lull in the conversation, I pulled out my phone and saw several messages from Christiana. "Claude, don't overthink it." After helping Horace find his stuff, He suddenly wanted to eat at this food stall, so I brought him here. I didn't know you were here. If you don't like this, I won't do it again. After dinner, let's go home together. Okay. I lowered my head and replied, no need. You and Horace can leave after dinner. I want to chat with Lucas a bit longer. I set my phone down and focused on my conversation with Lucas, ignoring the new messages from Christiana. A few drinks later, Lucas was drunk. He put an arm around me, his eyes red. Why are you suddenly going back to your hometown? You're my best friend here, and if you leave, I won't have anyone to drink with. I felt a heavy ache in my chest, and tears welled up in my eyes. My parents are getting older, and their health isn't great. I need to be with them. I paused for a moment, then added, your company is expanding along the coast. Right. When you're on a business trip there, I'll treat you to drinks. Lucas didn't say anything else. He just raised his glass and toasted me again. From across the table, Christiana seemed to have heard something surprising. Her eyes widened in shock as she stared at me. Chapter 8. Christiana looked at Lucas in disbelief. Lucas, what did you just say? Who's going back to their hometown? Lucas, a bit drunk, took a moment to respond. Claude's going back to his hometown. Didn't you know? I invited you both to dinner today as a farewell for him. Christiana abruptly stood up and pulled me into a corner. I leaned against the wall and silently met her gaze. Her eyes were red, tears brimming on the edge. After a moment, Christiana spoke in a trembling voice. When did you decide to go back to your hometown? Why didn't you talk to me about it? I lowered my head, clenched my fists, and suppressed the urge to wipe away her tears. I decided when I was video calling my parents on my birthday. You were out celebrating with Horace and didn't come back all night, so I didn't disturb you. A flash of panic crossed Christiana's face. She took a step forward and grabbed my hand, no matter the reason. I'm your girlfriend. You should have told me first about your decision. I looked at her in surprise. I had always told her everything as soon as I made a decision. I thought that was a sign of respect, but she had always been impatient. She said, you're a grown man. Can you stop being so indecisive? Why do you need to ask me about everything? I'm not your mom. Christiana took a deep breath, then cautiously asked, how long are you planning to stay there? I hesitated for a moment, then decided to keep it from her for now. I planned to stay for a few months at first. Christiana was stunned. A few months? Why so long? I lowered my head and remained silent. Finally, Christiana sighed, no longer waiting for an answer. She looked at me with a hopeful expression. Let's leave together later. Okay. I instinctively wanted to refuse, but then Horace approached, reeking of alcohol. He grabbed Christiana's hand with an ease that was almost too natural. Christiana, what are you doing over here? After dinner, come with me to buy some bedding. Christiana glanced at me with a guilty look and tried to pull her hand free, but Horace didn't let go. She carefully explained, we grew up together. It's just the way we are. Like siblings, there's nothing else to it. I understood, and nodded. I get it. Horace shook her hand again. I had a couple of extra drinks, my head spinning. Come with me to get the bedding. I threw up last night and made the bed dirty. If I don't change it, I'll have nowhere to sleep tonight. Chapter 9. Christiana looked at him helplessly. Stop shaking my hand. I'll go with you. She had once told me that she hated people who drank. Back then, if I had a drink, she would never let me near her, much less help me change the bed sheets if I had thrown up. But now, with Horace, it seemed she didn't mind at all. Christiana turned to me. Claude, you and Lucas keep chatting. I'll go with him to buy the bedding and change it. I'll come right back to take you home. I took a step back and said indifferently, it's fine. He needs you more than I do. I'll just take a cab home later. Christiana tried to grab my arm, but I dodged it and walked briskly back to my seat. I bid farewell to Lucas and arranged a cab for both of us. Just before getting into the car, Lucas, who was quite drunk, suddenly became somewhat lucid. He slapped me on the shoulder. Christiana's been going too far. Her relationship with Horace must have hurt you. Huh. Sorry, brother. I shouldn't have introduced you too. My throat tightened, and I couldn't stop a few tears from falling. I quickly turned my head to hide it. All these years, Christiana had left me countless times for Horace, and I thought I had grown used to it. But Lucas' words instantly shattered the facade I had built so carefully. Turns out, I was still in pain. I used to have so many good memories with Christiana, but over time, with the increasing number of arguments triggered by Horace, those memories had faded. I composed myself and smiled at Lucas. It's not your fault. Lucas sighed. It's not yours either. Try to move on. I nodded, helped him into the car, and watched it drive away. Just like how my past with Christiana was slowly fading. As soon as I got home, Christiana called. Claude, Horace isn't feeling well tonight, so I won't be coming back. I need to stay and take care of him. Chapter 10. This was the first time Christiana had informed me about not coming home. In the past, whenever I asked her who she was with or when she would be back, she would get angry and accuse me of trying to control her. I would always have to coax her for a long time before she would calm down. This time, I didn't ask any more questions, simply replying softly, okay. Christiana explained further. His stomach's not good. If I don't take care of him, he might end up in the hospital. Don't overthink it. I'll be back first thing tomorrow morning. I responded again, just as calmly. Okay. Christiana seemed like she wanted to say more, but then Horace called her name in the background. She quickly dropped the phone's last words. Don't think too much about it. Once his stomach feels better, I'll be right back. Then she abruptly hung up. I couldn't help but let out a quiet laugh as I looked at my phone. I had been drinking a bit more than usual with Lucas tonight, and now I was feeling dizzy and nauseous. I went to the bathroom and threw up several times before I started to feel a little better. But my stomach still hurt. It was only then that I remembered my own stomach wasn't in the best condition either. I had been drinking too quickly and hadn't eaten anything to line my stomach beforehand. I forced myself to find some stomach medicine, but couldn't wait for the water to boil, so I just swallowed the pills with cold water and lay down in bed. That night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. By dawn, I finally managed to rest for a little while. The next day, Christiana didn't return until the afternoon. When she walked in, I was cleaning the house, which had gotten a bit messy from a few days of neglect. Christiana, unusually, walked over to help me clean up. Let me help you. I looked at her curiously and shook my head. It's fine. I'm almost done. Since we got together, I've always been the one taking care of the housework. She never did anything. Christiana put her hand down and looked at me, almost nervously. Horace's stomach's been bothering him again. He doesn't take care of himself, so he keeps getting sick. I stayed up with him last night to take care of him. I'm exhausted. I nodded in sympathy. That sounds really tough. Christiana seemed a bit awkward, probably not expecting me to be so calm. After a while, she hesitantly asked, Claude, I've been thinking, what if I go with you to your hometown? Chapter 11. I was surprised by her suggestion. In the past, whenever I mentioned that I wanted her to come with me to my hometown during a long holiday, she always refused firmly. She would complain about the long train ride, say she'd get motion sickness on a plane, or cite the unfamiliar food and language barrier as excuses. There was always some reason to avoid it. If this were before, I would have happily jumped up to help her pack, booking flights and making all the arrangements. But now, I simply replied indifferently, no need. You have work to do. My trip isn't certain, so don't trouble yourself. Christiana's smile froze for a moment, and she awkwardly said, then I'll just wait for you at home. I didn't respond. Christiana then asked, it's my best friend's birthday tonight. Why don't you come with me? I was surprised again. She never invited me to her friends' gatherings, because her friends always looked down on me. Every time they had a get-together, she would bring Horace along instead. I refused. No, they won't be happy if I show up. A flicker of discomfort flashed across Christiana's face. Why not? You're my boyfriend. They won't mind. I looked at her quietly until she lowered her head. Guilty. I remembered a time when one of her friends had mocked me for not measuring up to Horace. I had been helpless and asked Christiana for support. She had brushed it off and said, you're not as good as Horace. But since you're my boyfriend, you need to figure out how to handle my friends on your own. Don't expect me to do everything for you. But the truth was, her friend's attitude toward me depended entirely on her own. If she had respected me, they wouldn't have dared to treat me that way. I packed the trash and prepared to take it downstairs. I'm busy tonight. Ask Horace to go with you. Christiana looked at me in disbelief, as if she had never imagined I would refuse her and ask her to take Horace instead. She grabbed my arm, looking nervous. Where are you going tonight? Let me go with you. Chapter 12. I explained. I've finished my work handover, so I don't need to go to the office tomorrow. I'm planning to have dinner with a few colleagues I'm closer to, just to say goodbye. It'd be better if you go to your best friend's birthday party. After hearing that, Christiana didn't insist on staying with me. Instead, she asked tentatively, if you're not going, should I really call Horace? I smiled and nodded. Go ahead. Christiana scrutinized my face, clearly looking for signs of jealousy, but she was bound to be disappointed. Don't you feel even a little bit jealous? She couldn't help but ask. I found it strange. Wasn't she the one who hated it when I showed jealousy? Now that I was no longer jealous, just as she had wanted, she seemed uncomfortable with it. What's there to be jealous about? You've said before that you two are like siblings. Besides, he's closer to your best friend, so it's only natural that you'd go with him. Right. Christiana opened her mouth as if to say something, but in the end, she didn't. Instead, she just reminded me, come back early, and if you're drinking, call me. I'll come pick you up. I thought for a moment and then nodded. I would definitely be drinking that night, and it was nice of her to offer to pick me up. It would save me the trouble of taking a taxi. After dinner, I called Christiana. The music on the other end was loud, and it sounded like there were a lot of people laughing and talking. I hesitated before speaking. I'm done here. Is your party still going on? Maybe I should just take a taxi home. Christiana quickly stopped me. No. I said I'd pick you up. Wait for me for a bit. I'll tell them I'm leaving. Just then, I heard someone shout for Christiana from the other side. Christiana, hurry up and take Horace home. He's drunk. lying on the floor and won't let anyone touch him. He keeps shouting for you. Hurry up. Christiana hesitated and asked, Claude, do you mind waiting a bit longer? I'll take Horace home first. I forced a smile and, trying to be understanding, said, It's fine, go ahead and take him home. I'll just take a taxi myself. Christiana quickly explained, Claude, don't worry, once I drop him off, I'll come straight back. There's nothing going on. I know. You go ahead. I'll get a taxi. After hanging up, I called for a taxi and headed home. After washing up, I lay in bed. Then my phone rang. It was Christiana calling. I picked up, but before I could say anything, I heard Horace whining on the other end. Christiana, don't leave. My stomach hurts. Can you rub it for me? Chapter 13. Christiana's voice sounded helpless. Horace, stop messing around. I have to go back. Claude is still waiting for me at home. Let him wait. It's not like he's never waited before. Christiana, my stomach really hurts. Can you bear to let me suffer like this? Christiana sighed. I really can't deal with you. Is it here? Does this feel better? Yes, right there. It's getting better. But can you rub it a bit longer? I listened, expressionless, and then hung up the phone, which was probably a misdial. I watched a few videos on my phone, then turned it off and went to sleep. Christiana didn't come back that night. It was almost noon the next day when she finally returned home. She changed her shoes and walked up to me, explaining, After I took Horace home last night, his stomach problems flared up again. I took care of him until late, so I didn't come back. I ended up sleeping on his sofa for the night. I responded with an uninterested and continued looking at my phone. She came over and tried to take my hand, but I pulled away. Christiana couldn't take it anymore. Her emotions flared, and she said, Claude, I really can't stand your indifferent attitude anymore. Can we sit down and talk about this? Isn't this fine? I was confused. I didn't interfere with her life, which was exactly what she had always wanted, wasn't it? Why was she upset now? It seemed like Christiana found the answer herself. Is this because of Horace? I fell silent. She gritted her teeth. If you don't like me being in touch with him, I'll cut ties with him. Just please, can you stop acting like this? Christiana looked at me with pleading eyes, her expression full of hope. In the past, no matter how much I argued, she wouldn't sever ties with Horace. But now, she was so easily willing to say it. What I had been hoping for over the years was about to be fulfilled. Yet my heart felt as still as water. I said indifferently, No need. It's your right to be friends with anyone. I have no right to interfere. Christiana's expression became anxious. Claude, do you not believe I'll really cut ties with Horace? I'll call him right now. With that, Christiana pulled out her phone, dialed Horace's number, and put it on speaker. Soon, Horace answered the phone. Christiana, are you home? Already missing me after just getting back? Chapter 14. Christiana glanced at me in panic, then quickly raised her voice to stop him. Horace, stop talking nonsense. I called to tell you that we shouldn't stay in contact anymore. My boyfriend doesn't like it. Horace shouted in disbelief. Christiana, what do you mean? How can you do this to me for the petty Claude? Christiana reiterated. He's my boyfriend, and you're not allowed to say that about him. We won't be in touch anymore. That's it. With that, she quickly hung up the phone, letting it ring constantly without answering. Christiana turned to me, trying to placate me. Claude, look, I really have cut ties with Horace. Don't be mad anymore. Let's be good from now on. Okay. I stared at her in shock, not expecting her to be so decisive. I had originally planned to bring up breaking up when I left, but now, it seemed it would have to happen earlier. I slowly spoke. Christiana, you don't need to do this. I think it's better if we... Before I could finish, Christiana rushed forward and covered my mouth, preventing me from saying the word break up. Her lips trembled, and tears began to fall one by one. In the past, when I saw her cry, my heart would ache, and I would frantically wipe away her tears, trying to comfort her until she smiled. But now, I didn't lift a hand to wipe her tears. I just quietly watched her. Claude, let's go back to my hometown together, Christiana said, then tightly hugged my waist, pressing her face to my chest. Soon, the fabric there was soaked with her tears. I had thought my heart was impenetrable, guarded by myself, but at this moment, it still ached unbearably. Slowly, I raised my hand and pushed her away. With difficulty, I spoke. I'm sorry, Christiana, but we should break up. Christiana clung to me once more, shaking her head tearfully. No, Claude, I don't want to break up. I don't want to be apart from you. I gave a bitter smile. You should be happy. There won't be anyone bothering you anymore, preventing you from being free. Christiana cried harder, pleading. No, I was wrong, Claude. Let's not break up. Okay, I won't say you're controlling me anymore, and I won't contact Horace again. Please, give me another chance. Please. I hardened my heart. Christiana, don't say that. We are from two different worlds now. We're just returning to our own worlds. I'm really tired of these years. I pried her hands off me, withdrew to my room, and let her sob uncontrollably outside. I didn't go out again. Chapter 15. The next day, I dragged my suitcase and opened the door to find Christiana asleep on the sofa, her face still streaked with tears. I picked up a thin blanket nearby and gently covered her. I silently whispered, "Goodbye." When I was waiting at the train station, Christiana's call came in, her voice frantic and flustered. "Claude, where did you go? Why are your things missing?" I didn't want to answer the phone, but in the end, I softened. She was once the person I deeply loved. I choked up. "Christiana, I'm leaving. I wish you all the best from now on." Christiana cried, shouting, "Claude, how can I be okay if you leave? Where are you going? Don't leave. Wait for me to come with you. Take care." I said this and hung up the phone. The phone kept ringing, but I didn't answer. Then, messages started coming in. "Are you at the train station? I'm coming over now. Wait for me. I've arrived. Where are you?" I didn't reply, dragging my suitcase to the line to board the train. As I stepped through the entrance, I heard a piercing cry from behind the crowd. "Claude." I froze for a moment, then continued walking forward. A few days later, I was at the supermarket near my house, checking the goods. I heard a trembling voice, filled with sobs, from behind. "Claude." I stopped and slowly turned around. It was Christiana. She had lost weight, looking much more haggard than before. "You weren't just coming back for a few months, right?" I nodded gently. "Yes, I'm not coming back." Christiana's eyes turned red as she choked out, "Why did you lie to me?" I smiled bitterly. "You've lied to me countless times. I'm only lying to you this one time." Over the past years, Christiana had lied to me more times than I could count for Horace. In the past, those lies had hurt me. But now, would she feel the same way I did? Christiana cried and pleaded, "Claude, can I move here and be with you?" I closed my eyes, then opened them again, my voice firm as iron. When disappointment accumulates enough, it turns into despair. "We can't go back. Christiana, let's part on good terms." I watched Christiana's lonely, desolate figure fade away, just like the memories in my mind, gradually fading until they disappeared. From now on, she and I would continue on in our own worlds, never to be part of each other's lives again.